I would like to call this January 28th meeting of City Council to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Gregg, Councilmember Shealy,
Here.
Councilmember McBride, Councilmember
Here.
Mitchell, Councilmember Brady, Councilmember Gregory, Councilmember Waring, Councilmember Seekings, Councilmember Tinkler, Councilmember Bowden, Councilmember Appel, Councilmember Parker, Mayor Cogswell.
Here. I'd now like to ask Councilmember Tinkler to give the invocation and lead everybody in the pledge.
We can bow our heads. Almighty God, thank you for allowing us to gather peacefully today to celebrate and calibrate the dueling concepts of tolerance and freedom of expression. In practice, may our diverse community, represented by all here in this room, find the strength to speak up for what is just and the wisdom to accept what is right. And please continue to guide the city and its people toward understanding and action. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, we have one proclamation this month. And I would like to ask Ms. Flores, Dr. Siegler, Dr. Keegan, Brandon Fish, y'all stand up because you're going to make your way up here. Jeffrey Elliott Fleming, Michael Drayden, is that right? Sally Eisenberg, Marlene Dawson, Ajina Rashid, Dr. Ren. There we go. There we go. And Edwin Wright to join up on the podium here. And ask Dr. Siegler if he would make a few brief introductions before we read the proclamation. Yeah, absolutely. This is so much. Come on.
Hi, everybody. I'll be quick. My name is Dr. Elijah Siegler. I'm a professor of religious studies at the College of Charleston and the current president of the Charleston Interreligious Council. If you're not familiar with us, we've been around in one form or another since 1979. Today, we have on our board representatives of over 10 different religious communities, faith traditions here in Charleston, some of whom are standing behind me today. We have contacts with over 100 faith communities in the Charleston area. And I just want to say, I mean, we do a whole bunch of great programming. We're a nonprofit group. All our events are free and open to the public. You can look us up at Charleston Interreligious Council, cicouncil.org. And I just want to say to the mayor and his staff and to the city council, we're here for you. If there's any issue you have about religious intolerance or misunderstandings involving religious groups, let us know, give us a call. We can reach out. We can be honest brokers. We have the historical knowledge. We have the community grassroots. So we're here for you. And one of the things that we've done every year for the past 7 or so years is declare January here in the city of Charleston as Interfaith Harmony Month. This year, we've also reached out to other communities in the Low Country, including North Charleston, Goose Creek, James Island, thanks to Alicia Flores, who's worked right there behind me, who's worked so hard to reach out beyond Charleston. But we've been doing it here at Charleston City Hall for 6 or 7 years. I think this is the first time with our current mayor, Mayor Cogswell. So thank you so much, Mayor Cogswell, for agreeing for this proclamation to be read. That's all I have to say. It's our pleasure to be here. And now I guess we'll read the proclamation.
Whereas, throughout the history of our towns, cities, and nation, we have intended to fully welcome people with diverse backgrounds and beliefs, many of whom were seeking relief from religious persecution, and to respect their freedom to practice their faith without fear, acknowledging that at times we succeeded and at other times failed. And
Michael Dryden, representing Unity Church. The municipalities represented today respect the equality of rights and privileges of the residents from all its diverse communities and encourages dialogue among different faiths in order to enhance mutual understanding, harmony, and cooperating among its people. And
Whereas open communication, mutual respect, common dignity, sincere understanding, and unilateral cooperation play a vital role in the promotion of peace and goodwill among all people. And
Marlene Dawson. Whereas this month is observed by many cities and towns across South Carolina, spreading the message of interfaith harmony, each according to their own religious traditions or convictions. And
whereas proclaiming our commitment to interfaith harmony, religious liberty, and tolerance for diverse traditions and beliefs contributes to our continued strength and prosperity. And
Randy Makar, representing the Sikh community and the Hindu community here. Whereas municipalities across the Low Country acknowledge the valued contributions that the Charleston Interreligious Council, in partnership with many different religious communities, makes to strengthen our society and transcend religious, ideological, and national differences. And
representing the city of North Charleston and Heaven 100.1 Gospel Station. Whereas residents of the Tri-County area encouraged to work together to foster an appreciation for the difficult faith, beliefs, cultures. Therefore, that the Low Country and to take part in the full slate of interfaith events exploring the topics of faith and healing during the month of January.
Now, therefore, I, William S. Cogswell, Mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2025 Charleston Interfaith Harmony Month. We'll do a signature here. So make me follow the guy on the radio. Get a picture if everybody can get up here. We'll appreciate it. Want to make room? Hold this in the middle. Get used to it. Come on in, come on in, come on in. All right.
good.
He's in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate it. Yo, thank you for what you do. Absolutely. It's always a little crowded up here. Good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was great to see you.
Oh, yeah, is that their copy?
Yeah. Good to see you again. See you next year. Yeah. See you next year. Thank you. Absolutely. We give this. All right. There are 6 public hearings tonight. Julia will present number 1, and Christopher will present items 2 through 6. Well, actually, item 2 I'm reading now has been deferred. Is that what I understand correctly? 2 has been deferred? Right. So Julia, if you would kick us off on, and please again, remember note, hold all the questions till the end, and Julia, take it away.
All right, thank you. So you probably recognize this address. We have already gone through the process of declaring that it is entitled to, or it is qualifies as an abandoned property for the tax credit purposes. State law then requires us to take this through public hearing to have a statement that it is entitled to a tax credit. We sent out the requisite notices to all the taxing entities. We got no pushback or objections to this. So the home builder would be entitled up to $200,000 over the course of 8 years in tax credits on his real estate taxes. I would like to make one correction just to the agenda. It is correct in the packet for signature, but the statement is the site is entitled to the real estate tax credit as opposed to the site is eligible for the real estate tax credit. And that would be the only revision I would have on the floor tonight. Okay.
These are all recent annexations, so these are pretty simple requests. And as the mayor stated, this first one is deferred and will come back before you, but that's 1761 Savage Road. It's just in here because it's already been advertised as a public hearing. So we'll skip that. Then the next one is 1338 Vine Street in West Ashley. It would come in the city as SR1. Also, here's a map of the property, image of the property. And it's recommended for approval by Planning Commission. 2132 Edisto Avenue in West Ashley, I'm sorry, James Island, and it would come in as SR1. And here's the map of the property, image of the property. And then we have 2452 Lantern Street, which is in West Ashley, would come in as SR1, map of the property, image, and recommended for approval. And then 1429 Alma Street in West Ashley with a map of the property and image of the property. And that was also recommended for approval at Planning Commission.
And we have 2 people signed up to speak for the public hearings.
Okay, just those that are here to speak for the public hearing, remind everybody the rules of decorum. Those in the audience, if you would please also make sure to silence your cell phone during these time periods because it's very disruptive. Again, reminding the rules of decorum. Madam Clerk, who's the first speaker? We have, how many? We have 2?
2, yes,
Give
sir.
a minute and a half.
All right, the time is a minute and a half. Anthony Bryant.
Anthony G. Bryant, 2123 Cortland Avenue, Charles, South Carolina, 29403. I have a letter here under public safety to give to the mayor, and also 13 business cards for AG Bryant Group, Inc., Incorporated, my company, incorporated in the city of, and it's by the state of South Carolina in good standing. And my company basically is already listed as a direct lobbyist, but I'm not listed as a direct lobbyist yet. I wonder why. Let's talk in terms of the growth issue, because there's no real definition of growth. And in terms of these incentives, and in the fact that these incentives of which you provide, well, has it been provided to those before this group or after? As we can see, the peninsula is on 11% African American, 90% non-African American, 7.7 million tourists come to Charleston. So again, how would you even police that? Is there a record in terms of these annexations? Now people have been here, and is there a record in terms of third-party calls on folk, on bicycles, or whatever? And if we don't have a record in terms of that annexation of the past 50 years, maybe we don't know whether or not public safety is operating in good faith with our funding and our money. So it's about budgets for me. It's not about people or personality. If I kick in, I want something out of it. I don't care if it's woke, meritocracy, or whatever.
Muhammad Idris.
Evening. They are closing CVS drugstore in our neighborhood. And we will have to walk, ride, or however we get there. And it's going to be very hard on the poor people of the neighborhood. So I come before you this evening asking that this city council work to put a drugstore in that spot where CVS is moving out. And it's a shame before God that all the money they have made from our community, they're moving the drugstore out of the neighborhood. Also, it'll give poor people an opportunity, people like on Section 8 and things, if they could unite their effort and buy the spot, because this cannot continue. How is these people going to be? They are sick already, the majority of them, and they insult our intelligence by saying that they're going to put where they're placing the drugstore at going to be close by. If it's going to be close by, why don't you let it stay right where it's at? So we asking you who represent the people, who open up in the name of God.
Time. Was there anyone else who needed to speak to the public hearings? Citizens' participation is later in the meeting. These are just for the public hearings.
Are you here to speak on one of the items that have been taken up? Okay, that you'll be next. All right, any discussion from council members or questions from council members among these items? If not, can I entertain a motion?
I would move for approval items 1 as amended, and 3 through 6.
Okay, we have a motion for 1 as amended, approval of 1 as amended and 3 through 6. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And
I would move item 1 for third reading and ratification.
Okay, a motion for item 1, third reading, approved, properly seconded. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Ayes have it. Okay, now moving on to approval of council minutes from January 14th. Motion for approval, properly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We're now on to citizens' participation, which is when you, I believe, have signed up for. Madam Clerk, how many people do we have signed up to speak?
we have 10 people signed up to speak.
Okay, we'll give, again, a minute and a half. Again, I ask that people respect the rules of decorum. Do not engage or ask questions directly to council members. This is not a back and forth. We are here to hear you. And so, Madam Clerk, would you please call the first speaker?
All right, and remind me what the time was again.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
minute and a half,
All
minute
right,
and a half.
The time is a minute and a half. We're starting with the in-person list first. Winslow Hasty.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. Good to see everybody again. My name is Winslow Hasty, and this evening I'm wearing 2 different hats. You can imagine them. One is I'm President and CEO of Historic Charleston Foundation, and I'm here to speak in favor of the city committing the TIF dollars towards the phase 1 of the Low Country Low Line that our organization has been very supportive of for a very long time. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time and are very excited to see it move forward. The other hat that I'm wearing is as a board member of the Friends of the Low Country Low Line, and you know, working with that group, and you'll hear from others, we've been working very hard for over 10 years to see this day happen. We've been waiting a long time. We've done lots of things. We pushed hard on the actual acquisition of the right-of-way from Norfolk Southern. We negotiated that and raised money, about half the money. And we commissioned this incredible conceptual master plan. Hopefully all of you have it on your desks or in your libraries. It's an amazing document, but it shows the incredible opportunities that we have before us with the Low Line. And we've been waiting for this day and are very excited. And thank you very much.
Ron Owens. Megan Mills.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. I'm honored to represent the Friends of the Low Country Low Line as we embark on this exciting and next step in the project that has been years in the making. Today, we have the opportunity to take and finally begin to turn a shared dream into reality. One that started in 2012 when 2 avid cyclists, Tom Bradford and Mike Messner, rode along the abandoned rail line and envisioned what could be. Since then, we've made remarkable progress together. Together, we've acquired the property, raising $2 million by the Friends, and funded the creation of the conceptual master plan, which Winslow talked about. Now we are thrilled to enter this new phase of fundraising filled with new determination. Your commitment today allows us to move forward, pledging our continued efforts to raise necessary support from our community. And this is much more than a park. For purposes of traffic and transportation, we know it'll improve connectivity for runners, walkers, cyclists, and skaters, creating vital pathways from north to south, linking east to west with destinations like Hampton Park, Cooper River Bridge, and the surrounding neighborhoods. But the impact goes deeper. This park will honor its rich history for gathering place for events, showcasing community art, horticulture, fitness, and become a source of pride for Charleston. This, in the iconic words of Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. With your support today, the Friends of the Low Country Lowline stand by your side, engaging the community every step of the way. Through philanthropy, collaboration, and dedication, we work together to create a park
Time.
for Charleston by Charleston. Thank you so much.
Katie Zimmerman.
Hi, Katie Zimmerman, Executive Director of Charleston Moves, 478 King Street. I'm here today to speak about 3 items. So first, I'm in support of funding the first phase of the Low Country Low Line. Thank you for considering that. Thank you for all of your work on that. Second, I'm very excited about the Bloomberg Asphalt Art Grants. So I hope final vote to put that forward and submit that grant application. It's a really cool opportunity to look at safety in a different way at the slip lane and the intersection of B and Lockwood. And then finally, I hope that you will support the Better North Bridge resolution in support of Charleston County's planning grant application that as of Monday, that program still exists at the federal level. So we're going ahead with the application. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the Better North Bridge project. Thank you.
Anthony Bryant.
This is the first time I actually listened to somebody before I spoke. What's happening in DC with Senator Scott now moving into power? And we talking about Charleston's awakening. See, we never sleep here. Our history here. So how can you be woke when you're from Charleston? You're awake. You never take a nap historically in Charleston, no matter who you are. And so I'm offended that Robert E. Lee now is a hero. What if Robert E. Lee had won? Keith wouldn't be here, Deli wouldn't be, and I know I wouldn't be here. But he's a hero. How can you go to a school board meeting and tell kids that would never be with each other ever if Robert E. Lee had won the war? He's a hero. Denmark Vesey, what was he? He was somebody against the planter class. He was seditionists against the planter class. And Robert E. Lee was seditious against the United States of America. So whatever he did before that is done. How can the Republican Party and American history, wherever they are, hide behind the Sheila Robert Smalls, Charles Sumner, and others who freed slaves to do their dirty work? I'm ashamed to be associated with that woke culture. Charlestonians awake. We
Time.
awake. We will remain awake. Thank you.
Muhammad Idris.
We had to do this here when they were closing, wanted to close Franklin C. Fetter. And we said enough is enough. We are going to protest this, what they're doing up there to CVS. All the money they have made from our community. It's a shame before God that we don't have anyone on this council speaking up for us in the public and promoting the steadfastness of that drugstore in that spot, Food Line Plaza lot at 1051 King Street. We calling on all of you all, collectively, individually, however you want to do it. Save that spot, generate enough interest in that spot to get people involved to buy that spot for a drugstore to be in that spot where they're moving CVS from. Thank you.
Justin Perot.
Yeah, I'm here again about Ardmore. I live in Ardmore, St. Andrews, Precinct 8. I see that here under item 9, there was $10,000 granted for parks, for beautification and restoration. I'm hoping we sent an email. I'm sorry, I deleted it, but I appreciate your follow-up. There's a city, a park that's owned by the city is called Balsam Park. It's at the end of the street. It's fallen into disrepair, so I'm hoping this $10,000 can go to that. This is a 4-year-long issue. I know this might only be the second time y'all are hearing of it, but it's been 4 years for people in my community trying to revitalize Ardmore. Carthago, Delinda Est is how Cato used to end each session. I'd like this council to end each session by saying Ardmore must be rebuilt. So I'd appreciate your time. Thank you.
Jason Wilson.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and other city officials. My understanding is that there's a large quantity of emails sent to many of you on the topic of the bridge spot and concerns of its impacts to the low line with the low line park. While it may have been a bit annoying, hopefully it underscores the importance of the space to the larger Charleston community. Thank you to the city officials who have provided direct assurances that there are no planned impacts to the bridge spot skate park during any phase of the low line park development. The statements made on this topic during the Traffic and Transportation Committee meeting today and those in the Post and Courier today are sincerely appreciated. Also, a huge thank you to the Friends of Lowline group for supporting the Bridge Spot Skate Park through the years. Given these assurances, there will be a shift in focusing to more direct communication to the correct city officials instead of just an email blast. So I appreciate it.
Tori Sanders.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tori Sanders. I'm here on behalf of the Coastal Conservation League at 131 Spring Street. The Coastal Conservation League is in support of the Lowline Project, and we applaud the city in their prioritization of this important work. The Lowline's innovative flood mitigation strategies and accessible mobility infrastructure really contribute to a bright future for our city. This project is an investment in Charleston's resilience, sustainability, and community cohesion, and we encourage you to keep this momentum moving forward. We also wish to express our enthusiasm for the resolution to support the city's backing of Charleston County's Better North Bridge planning grant application to USDOT. This planning effort is essential for addressing safety and accessibility issues on a critical corridor that serves not only as a vital link between communities, but also as a key piece of the region's multimodal transportation future. Both the Low Line and the Better North Bridge project represent opportunities to demonstrate leadership in addressing our most pressing transportation and infrastructure challenges. We urge Council to remain steadfast in your commitment to these transformative projects, and we thank you for your leadership in these critical areas. Thank you.
Kelsey McGrogan, and if you're joining online, you can press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hi there. My name is Kelsey. I am actually a resident of North Charleston, but just wanted to get on here and express my support for the Lowline project. I think it's an absolutely amazing use of the space, especially incorporating Bridge Spot. I'm a skater myself, and I can't explain the importance of that space to the skating community. And I really think that its inclusion will be great. And I know that you guys have already kind of made some communications regarding that, but I just wanted to get on here and support the Lowline and support the Bridge Spot. And thank you.
All right, and those were all of the speakers that we had. We did receive some comments online. 7 comments were received requesting that council preserve the Bridge Spot Skate Park beneath I-26 during construction of the Low Country Lowline, stating that it is a safe, positive space for people to express themselves, skate, and build community. One comment was received from Zach Vicidi requesting that council follow through on past statements and efforts and allow the pedicab bid to be fully completed. 2 comments were received from Anthony Bryant, which were sent to council in full, and those were all the comments that we received.
Okay, moving now to petitions and communications. We have 8 appointments for consideration for the Charleston Basin Flood Action Committee. We have Councilman Mike Seekings, Councilman Keith Waring.
Second.
On the whole slate, I'm assuming. We have a motion made, properly second. Any further discussion on this? If none, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Next item is the resolution supporting Charleston County's Better North Bridge Application Build Grant. Oh, helpful.
Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion made, seconded. Any further discussion on this exciting initiative? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Now we are on to a brief presentation on city's office space needs. This is something that has been expressed or questions have been asked by council members about where things stand, and we did a deep dive internally on this. This is not a third party, so no money was spent on this. If it is deemed that we still need to move forward with perhaps a third party, we're glad to do this, but I think what we have here is pretty thorough and very informative. And so we'll start. I don't know how, am I supposed to drive this thing? We got a clicker. And again, just what has the urgency to this has been the needed relocation from the facilities on the third floor at 75 Calhoun. So I can do this right. So this is what we did is we wanted to look just not what the current needs are, but we really need to look at what our needs are going to be for the next 20 years and plan accordingly. We don't want to be playing catch up. We want to be very proactive on this. So what we've done is we've taken a deep dive, looked into our existing spaces, what land we currently have and plans that we have, and move forward accordingly. And one of the components of this too on next steps would be to also look at design and material, because I do believe that the city should be leading the way when it comes to setting the bar high for quality construction and design, not just in the historic district, but really throughout the city as a whole. And so we'll be getting into that here shortly, but this was the general scope that we were, city staff was tasked with. What we did here, again, just looking at the future, we looked at where the population is projected to go. This is based on a lot of regional reports, but basically, and it tracks on the past 10 years, City of Charleston has been growing at about 1.5% in population annually, and of course, that obviously compounds. So by the year, I don't know if you can see it there, we'll go from a current estimated population of 156,000 to 213. So that's kind of what we are planning for. We use that same growth rate to figure out what the prospects on future employees might be. Now, hopefully you would get some economies of scale. You certainly don't want your number of employees to outpace your growth in population, right? So just to be conservative, we use the same 1.5% annual growth rate for future city employees. And based on last year's budget, we are at right over 2,000 employees for the city of Charleston. So that is projected by 2045 to be 2,849. Again, not complicated math here. Now, what we did is we took a deep dive on office space, and I do think this is important to point out that the city owns a lot of buildings, but not all of it, of course, is used as office. We have gymnasiums, we have swimming pools, we have a variety of large spaces. So we extrapolated all the buildings that the city owns and pulled out just the office space. And when you look at that, we're at about 175 square feet per employee. And you might want to get, you might be able to get some economies on that. And so we use two different metrics here. One at, I believe, $150 a square, 150 square feet, and one at 175. So bottom line is, if you use the more conservative number, you're looking at about 125,000 additional square feet of office space will be needed by the city of Charleston over the next 20 years. So right now, we have 362,000 square feet. Again, this is office space only. We're going to have 30,000 square feet pulled out with the 75 Calhoun. We're looking at, on Ways and Means, and we passed it through earlier tonight, the space at 200 Meeting Street, which would be a temporary lease. We also have Milford Street that is being removed and 85 Calhoun Street that is going to be reformatted. Bottom line is, when it all kind of boils down, when you add, and this is important, the city operations building on the upper neck that is already funded and getting ready to start construction, along with the West Ashley Public Safety or Fire Ops building that we're going to be building on West Ashley Circle, and then an office building, a phase 1 office building at the diocese property in West Ashley across from Sumar. You get to about 82,000 square feet, and that is what we need for the next decade. And then when you look at additional square footage that could be a phase 2 at Sumar Street, another 45,000 square feet. Between these 3 assets that we're either under contract to buy or own, we will have capacity to meet and probably exceed the office space needs for the city for the next 20 years. Now, one thing that was important to note, and I found this pretty fascinating, a little alarming, frankly, is we did look at where people live. We took all 2,000 employees, and it's not fully 2,000 because we're not fully staffed, mind you, but took all employees and did, in essence, a heat map on them on where people live. And so what we found is 21% live West Ashley, 17% North Charleston, 18% in Somerville, and then you've got a scattering, 5% on the peninsula, 6% Mount Pleasant, Johns Island, and James Island. This, to me, is pretty telling. Now, if you think about it from a traffic standpoint, too, 2,000 people daily are getting in their cars and largely driving down to the peninsula. And so I think the relocation of a lot of this staff and planning for the future, basically in these areas, here, and then obviously city ops, lends itself to where people seem to be commuting from. Again, back here, where those locations are, I think that these are the prudent places to put future office buildings for the city of Charleston. So, not a lot of science behind this, but there is a lot of math, I would say. And so what we have here is a preliminary site plan for the office buildings that could be easily fit on the property that we're buying from the Catholic Diocese. These are 2 3-story buildings that are 15,000 square feet per floor. So very much in keeping with that area and community, and facing onto the frontage road there, Ingram Road. We can easily accommodate that. But here's the kicker. We're going to have to move on phase 1 pretty quickly. And we're going to have to get creative about how we're able to deliver that, because, while in the private sector from right now until when we would need to be in there, which is July 1st of 28, so 40 months from now, approximately, would be easily accommodated. But, sometimes we move at a slightly slower pace. So we're going to have to make sure that we get this done, the first phase, because we're going to have to be out of 200 Meeting Street. But again, I think this hopefully gives you all a vote of confidence that this is not just for the interim term, but this is a long-term viable plan for the growth of the city of Charleston, and strategically and I think responsibly placed in good locations. So that's the presentation. Happy to open it up for any questions you all might have. There we go. How'd I know? Councilman Gregory.
Did we factor in working from home?
A little bit. We're actually taking a pretty deep dive on that policy. And I've met with all section chiefs and department heads on trying to find out how many employees do actually work from home. One of the things that was a little concerning when we had the ice, if I could be frank, was that there was a question over whether or not people could work from home because we weren't closing offices. We were closing the physical offices, but we weren't shutting the city down. And like, well, a lot of people can't work from home. But in a lot of departments, we actually have a policy, a very dated policy, that allows people to work from home for 2 days a week. Well, I need to make sure if you're saying you're working from home, you have the capacity to work from home. So we're working with HR on that, and we're going to have a study on just how many people are actually utilizing that and where they're coming from, so we can make some decisions based on that data.
Second question. If we're going to increase the number of folks in a specific area, right? We also need to consider expected to reside. Meaning, we also need to find out whether or not the inventory of affordable housing is available. And I haven't taken a look at salaries for our staff, but I'm sure that 50% of our staff is far below median income. So when we start talking about employment centers specifically for our staff, and you're probably already doing that already, but I think we also have to look at expected to reside to make sure that the inventory is there to house our folks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great point. Any further questions or comments on this? There's really no action on this tonight, but I wanted to present it. Again, as we move forward, I would recommend that we work off of this. We're doing some additional work, again, internally on a variety of fronts, frankly. And I think with the new HR director coming on board, haven't hired anybody yet or found anybody, but that process is ongoing. Bringing them in to this conversation is going to be important too. So just wanted to bring you all up to speed. A lot happening on this. And just know too that I believe, both based on the math, based on the growth trends, based on where people are coming from currently, that West Ashley and the western part of the city of Charleston is a prudent place to make significant investment, which we're already doing. So applaud you all for that. All right. Yeah, Councilman Waring.
One last question. One of the things you said about city projects, sometimes I'm paraphrasing, we get muddled down. One of the things I suggested years ago when it comes to city projects, let's just say we had a zoning code, a building code that was 1670, which recognized it being a city project that I would hope would help to expedite it. Time is going to be crucial on something like that. Are we looking at any ways to make it more efficient to move city projects through?
Yes, we very much are. Not just city, but really the whole process. I mean, I think as we've discussed on a variety of fronts, time is money.
That's right.
Affordable housing projects are taking way too long. Stormwater projects are taking way too long. We do not want to do anything that lessens the requirements that we have, but in terms of efficiencies at our level, again, I think we have phenomenal employees too. It's literally, I think, more structural moves that have to be made and in terms of process. And we are digging deep into that, and certainly we'll be keeping you all up to speed on that. And these are case in points. I mean, we have to get these things done, and not just that, but again, stormwater, a whole variety of public infrastructure. It's imperative. So I think you all know my impatience, and we are diligently working on it. I really do want to give also a shout out to the staff writ large, because they've all leaned in and are really helping on this front as well. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Any other questions on this one? If not, we will move on to, where are we? Ways and Means Report, Committee Reports.
Second.
Look at this. We have a motion to approve as amended and properly seconded. Any further discussion on this? If none, all those in favor for approval signify by saying aye. Opposed, ayes have it.
And Mr. Mayor, that includes the letter of intent for 200 Meeting Street,
Yes,
the Gibbs, and as well as the senior center lease. Those
all
three
things that
items
were
were
added on during Ways and Means.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Apologies for not making that clear. Bills up for second reading. We got 5 bills up for second reading.
Move for approval, 1.
We have a motion to take 1 through 5. We have a second. Approved to take items 1 through 5. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Motion to approve is probably seconded to approve 1 through 5. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And what is I'm supposed to say? I always get confused on this.
Yeah. Move for third reading and ratification items 1 through 5.
All right, move. No, we did, that was for the approval of it. So we have moved for, okay, we have motion made, properly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, I'm gonna start speaking a little bit more slowly now. Ayes have it. That it? We got no bills up for first reading. We're going to go, we have one executive session item tonight to receive legal update on the short-term rental litigation and a proposed settlement. Can I have a motion to go into? We have a motion made, probably seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, ayes had it. We'll make our way into my office for executive session. All right, can I entertain a motion to come out of executive session? All those in favor of coming out of executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. We are out of executive session where we got the advice of counsel. We took no action as counsel in executive session. And with that, are there any other comments or motions that might be made? Councilman Appel.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the settlement agreement and authorize the execution of said settlement agreement.
We have a motion to approve the settlement agreement. We have a second. Although, any further discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And Councilman Appel.
I'd like to make another motion. I'd like to make a motion to amend the fee agreement with council dated January 14th, 2020, as discussed, and authorize its execution.
We have a motion made, properly seconded. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes had it. If there is no further business of this council, this meeting is hereby adjourned.